There's an amazing story that Leopold Weiss, who became Muhammad Asad, I don't know if people know, but he became Muslim in 1926, and then he went to Arabia, and he ended up, he knew Arabic, he knew Hebrew, he was actually trained in the Torah. He comes from a long line of rabbis, but his father, I think, was a successful businessman. Anyway, he was raised with the Torah, and then he in 26, he converted to Islam. And then he went to Saudi Arabia, and he actually became an advisor to Abdulaziz, King Abdulaziz. He was living in Mecca at the time, and then he ended up, after that, in 1932, he went to Pakistan, which was not Pakistan yet, because it becomes Pakistan in 47. But in 32, he goes to Pakistan, and he actually lives there, learns, I think, Urdu, became a Pakistani citizen, and helped them. He translated a Bukhari, and then he lost the translation, got burnt down, his house burnt down, lost the whole translation. It was tragic, because he really knew Arabic well. But anyway, he tells how he became Muslim, which is an amazing story in his book, Road to Mecca. He said that he and his wife Elsa, they were on a train in Vienna. He was from Austria. So they're on a train, and he's looking at a man across from him. He was a businessman, a portly businessman. And he said he looked like a well-educated, well-fed, and wealthy man. But he said he looked at his face and he saw this pain and worry and torment on his face. He said his lips were pursed as if he was troubled by something. And then he looked around and he noticed everybody on the train looked like that. And if you've ever been on a subway in New York, you know exactly what he's talking about. After, the 5 o'clock subway, after a day of that horrible grind. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Surely in the afternoon, man is at loss. So and then he looks to Elsa and he says to her what he's noticing. And then she looks and she says, you're right. He actually says she looks like somebody who a painter would look at faces that they're about to paint. She really inspects them. And she says, they look like they're suffering the torments of hell. So he goes back to the apartment, and he had been reading the Quran, and it was open. And he goes actually to put it away, but his eyes fall on Al-Hakumu Takathuru Hatta Zurtum al-Maqabir, that vying for more has you bedazzled until you go to your graves. And then it says, surely you will come to know. Surely you will come to know the hell that you are in. And you will see it. Ayn al-yaqeen. And he said he started shaking physically. And then he called Elsa and he says, read that. Isn't that what we just saw? And she said, yes. And he said, I knew at that moment this book was true. Because he said he felt it was predicting a state that would come towards the latter days in this mechanized world of alienated people living these empty, meaningless lives because they have spiritual Alzheimer's, completely unaware of who they are, where they come from, who created them, where they're going.